Humans arrived late, to the stars, to the Council, to the great galactic stage. By the time Earth unlocked stable FTL, the galaxy was already full, civilizations spanning millennia, species older than their own continents, governments that spoke in probability models and neural resonance. And humans, they showed up with hull plating and duct tape. When Earth's application reached the Galactic Council, the clerk processing it laughed, literally laughed. Fusion drive signatures, manual navigation fallback, data copied to local solid-state redundancies. Are they serious? They were. That's what made it worse. The review board assigned humanity a provisional tech tier classification, Tier 3C, right above combustion-based species, just below plasma-level weaponized herbivores. It wasn't even insulting. It was bureaucratically accurate. Still, humans weren't offended. They smiled, took notes, asked questions. One ambassador even asked a Synthar noble how their quantum link network avoided redundancy faults in high-noise sectors. The noble blinked. They had no idea what a redundancy fault even was. Humans built backup systems. Manual override levers, physical switches. They didn't trust pure code, didn't trust any system that couldn't be kicked back to life. Their ships had analog gauges next to neural interfaces. It was absurd, outdated, primitive. But it worked. The Council passed Earth's application by default, too minor to be a threat, too curious to be ignored. They gave humanity a diplomatic seat, decorative, symbolic, disposable. The first real warning came from the Archive AI on Threx Station. It flagged an anomaly in human logic structures, something called fail-dead-safe loops. The AI reported, "This species designs for systemic collapse as a default behavior. It assumes the worst, plans for it, builds for it." The Council dismissed it. "Paranoia," they said, "post-trauma from planetary history. They'll grow out of it." They didn't. They just kept building strange things. Metal ships with carbon shielding, impardoned relays in an age of quantum entanglement, control panels with buttons, real physical buttons. Aliens mocked it, until one day they stopped laughing. The threat came from the dark edge of the Perseus corridor, a long dead zone, empty, dead. Then it wasn't. An energy signature woke, nothing like hyperspace. No rhythm, no frequency, just deletion. Ships sent to investigate disappeared, not destroyed, erased. The Council mobilized, war fleets, sensor webs, archival retrieval teams. Everything failed. Quantum communications dropped first. Then FTL maps began rewriting themselves in real time. Entire sectors vanished from shared memory grids. Every protocol based on complexity failed. Humanity didn't. Their ships, slow, ugly, shielded like siege bunkers, reported in with clean data. Analog scopes still worked. Backup hard drives hadn't blinked once. And one Terran vessel, the Vanguard, registry dated 219 years before first contact, was already in the zone, fully operational, waiting. When Council Command asked how, the human response was simple: "We've seen this before." The entire chamber went silent. A single question followed: "When?" And the human envoy, calm and quiet, answered: "Before you ever found us." The Council demanded proof. They received a transmission, grainy, corrupted, timestamp, old Earth calendar, 2084 AD. It showed a human technician, covered in grease, shouting over a wired headset: "Containment has failed, shut down the lattice, repeat, shut down the damn lattice." Then static, then a log file. Subject: Project Null Engine Failure Report. Status: Abandonment ordered. Directive: Deny existence. Archive at level Omega. It was centuries old, and it matched the threat exactly. The Null Engine wasn't alien. It was human, built in secret during Earth's final pre-Unity years. A theoretical weapon powered by absence, entropy, and controlled spacetime starvation. It was designed to erase anything, including its creators, and it almost did. Humanity buried it, not in space, in memory. They scrubbed the project, disbanded the division, killed the scientists' names from every network. Even Earth's own governments forgot it existed. Only deep analog storage remembered. Tapes, paper, steel-boxed archives buried beneath fused Antarctic stone, and someone, some long-dead archivist, left a note. This was our greatest mistake. If it ever wakes, don't match it in power, match it in simplicity. The council was speechless. Their best minds couldn't understand what they were seeing. The null engine was beyond them. Not because it was complex, because it was brutal. It didn't interface, didn't negotiate, didn't even attack. It subtracted. Anything it couldn't understand, it erased. Quantum systems failed first. Synthetic minds unraveled. Adaptive shielding collapsed. But human tech, it didn't even register to the engine. Too simple, too analog, too boring, so it ignored them. The Terran ship Vanguard was found orbiting the anomaly, still using spin gravity and vacuum-sealed tapes. It carried records from the first contact with the engine and the shutdown code. Manual, mechanical. It required insertion of a key, a literal key, forged from a rare earth alloy, with hand-etched instructions on its side. Council engineers stared in disbelief. One of them asked, "How did your ancestors even build this?" The human reply, "They didn't trust computers." The humans began assembling an intervention team. No specialists, no AI, no theorists, just 6 engineers, 3 veterans, 1 farmer-turned-mechanic, and a dog. They didn't request permission, they just said, "We've got this." Council Command issued warnings, told them the risk was too high, told them the engine was destabilizing sectors faster than expected. The humans nodded and boarded their ships anyway. Vanguard was towed into position by hand-linked tug lines. No propulsion, no heat signature, just ghosted in using math older than most species. They docked in silence, no digital interface, no uplink, just a physical hatch. They entered. Inside was a room, and inside the room was the key. No locking system, just a wall. And a phrase etched into the surface in Earth Standard. "If you're reading this, you remembered, now finish what we couldn't." One human stepped forward, the veteran. He pulled the key from his belt, brushed off dust, inserted it, turned it once, twice, paused, then turned it a third time. The lights flickered. A low, rumbling groan echoed through the chamber. And then silence. Across 10,000 sectors, systems came back online. Star maps reformed. Ships reappeared. The null engine, after so many centuries, was dormant again. Not destroyed, just sleeping. But now everyone knew who had put it to sleep. Humans didn't ask for praise, didn't hold press conferences. They just filed one report. Threat neutralized. Suggest permanent analog monitoring and non-interference doctrine. Recommend access to our archives for your own good. And the galaxy listened. For the first time. The null engine slumbered again. Galactic systems rebooted. Starways reopened. The Council exhaled in relief, but not comfort, because now they knew. Humanity wasn't behind. They were ahead. So far ahead, they'd already made the worst mistake the galaxy feared. And quietly buried it. It changed everything. First to fall were the tech hierarchies. The Karshine disbanded their Quantum Oversight Council after discovering that Earth's obsolete magnetic drives couldn't be overwritten, even by their top AI infiltrators. The Synthars halted production on Neuralinked ship systems. Too many failed during the null event. Instead, they copied human fallback methods. They started wiring in physical switches. In one cycle, nearly a dozen species decommissioned their most advanced systems and replaced them with something terrifying, manual backups. The humans didn't gloat. They didn't even comment. But quietly across the stars, something shifted. Where once Earth was ridiculed for its crude, dirty systems, it now became template. One Karshine engineer publicly stated, "The humans build machines like they expect the universe to betray them, and maybe that's the only sane way to build." The Council launched an investigation. They wanted to know how deep it went. What else had humans buried? They requested access to Earth's deep archives. The response came not from a diplomat but from an archivist. Old, sharp-eyed, sitting in front of an analog monitor, he said, "You want our archives?" Start with a shovel. Beneath Antarctica, in sealed vaults older than FTL, they found it. Tens of thousands of reels, magnetic tape, film, handwritten schematics. None were digital, none were connected, all were dangerous. Project names included Sky Hole, a failed attempt to terraform a black hole by feeding it quantum-locked matter. GRAVCODE, a bioweapon designed to infect machines with human-like grief patterns to disrupt war algorithms. Echo Down, a weaponized sound wave tested once, shut down immediately after it made an entire continent weep in unison. Most of the galaxy didn't even have words for this kind of science, because humans didn't invent tools. They invented warnings, and every project was followed by the same thing: shutdown procedures, isolation instructions, analog fail-safes. Even their mistakes had escape plans. The more the Council saw, the more they realized. Humanity didn't survive their history. They engineered their survival and never forgot what it cost them. They hadn't abandoned progress. They had walled it off, left trails for future generations, not because they were paranoid, but because they were merciful. In a closed meeting, a Estharn commander asked the human envoy, "Why didn't you share this before?" The reply came gently, "Because the last time we shared our tech, the stars almost died." Ships began arriving at Earth not with threats, but with students. Engineers, historians, archivists, to learn from the species that had already seen the edge and turned back. The humans didn't charge them. They taught them how to weld under pressure, how to read vacuum gauge dials without instruments, how to rebuild a circuit with no AI help. The classes had names like redundant by design. When the computer fails, you don't. Backup plans are primary plans. And slowly across the stars, a new standard emerged. It wasn't sleek, it wasn't fast, but it was real, built with hands, made to survive. And on every panel, every bridge, every outpost, a new phrase was etched beside the power controls. In case of deletion, trust the humans. It didn't end with the null engine. 3 months later, the star at Corley's 9 blinked out, not went nova, not collapsed, vanished. Sensors failed to detect it. Stellar maps auto-corrected it out. Even archival records glitched when referencing it. Entire fleets forgot they were assigned near the system. Only one vessel, an old Earth freighter running on passive gravcom, noticed the anomaly, because its captain logged everything by hand. The Council panicked again, but this time no one looked to the Estharn, no one summoned the Synthars, no one activated quantum defense arrays. They turned to Earth and waited. But humanity didn't send a fleet. They sent one ship, small, loud, smelled faintly of coffee and rust. Its name? Second Guess. Crew: one retired station engineer, a linguist, a mechanic, a 92-year-old astrophysicist who insisted on bringing his own chair, and a dog named Wrench. They launched with no AI, no FTL, no escort. The galaxy held its breath. They reached Corley's 9. The star wasn't gone. It had been displaced, compressed into a singularity and trapped in a quantum echo loop. Nothing advanced could detect it, too much interference. But the analog telescopes aboard Second Guess picked it up on day 1. The humans didn't speak for 72 hours. They worked, soldered, calibrated, drew diagrams with pens, ate sandwiches while reviewing stellar drift on transparencies. And then they deployed a satellite. No power core, no signal uplink, just a reflector dish and a mechanical switch. The moment the switch clicked, the star came back. Like flipping on a light. Council sensors overloaded, quantum channels screamed back online, and somewhere a synthetic intelligence began crying in binary. No one spoke at the council session that followed. They didn't need to. Humanity had saved the galaxy again, without using anything the galaxy even recognized as modern. At the ceremony on Draxel Station, the Terran ambassador declined the seat of honor. Instead, they handed it to the engineer from Second Guess. He stepped up in grease-stained coveralls, looked around, then said, "We're not smarter than you. We just assume things will break, so we build like they already have. That's all." After that, everything changed. Humanity wasn't considered backward anymore. They were called the survivors, and in time, the architects. Their designs became mandatory in all council ships. Their training doctrines rewritten into naval protocols. And in every fleet, one system became required: analog override Terran spec. No one mocked the levers anymore. Years passed, and then decades, and then came the third anomaly. And for the first time, humanity didn't lead the mission, because they didn't have to. Every crew across the galaxy now knew, if it's too clean to fail, it's too brittle to trust. Build ugly, build layered, build to live. The final tribute came quietly, a monument on Earth's moon, carved into steel, not stone, unpolished, unpainted. It read, "They called us primitive until the stars failed, and we were the only ones who remembered how to light a fire."